Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is the Narcissistic Resistance, and this resistance video is sponsored by contribution from Amy, and here's her story. Hi, Ollie. I need some advice. Around mid-2012, I finally got away from my narc ex and bought a house for me and my two girls. I was in emergency mode because the lease was ending. My kid was starting kindergarten. My ex was in full retaliation and sabotage mode, and I practically did most of the decision making and tied up loose ends on a house I had seen only one time in Texas while on military TYD, temporary duty, in Georgia. I really needed some miracles and got those miracles in spite of him stealing all my money and putting me in the worst possible position for purchasing a home. Nevertheless, everything went through and the house was perfect for our situation. I have lived in apartments for most of my adult life and wanted my kids to have stability while going through school and wanted to finally get away from apartment noise. Apartment neighbors rarely care if their partying or music is too loud. Yeah, no shit. The house had 3 bedrooms, a yard, a garage, and the neighborhood was decent. It wasn't perfect, but it was perfect for us. The only complaint and problem I discovered was that it's a 0 lot line where the house itself is the property line. So you have no property. I cannot see one side of my house unless I jump over the neighbor's fence. There is a legal easement for maintenance needs. I don't know who invented this concept or what architect thought it would be a good idea, but apparently it's pretty common, at least in my city. Yeah, it's like row houses, I guess. I found the county record and email of the lady who owns the house next door and sent her an email asking if it would be possible to purchase a small portion of her yard so I could put a fence up and protect that side of my house. She said it couldn't be done and she wasn't interested, and I left it at that. I don't know anything about real estate law. Maybe she was right. It could be. I mean, every one of these towns has their own property laws, their own property line laws, easement laws, all that. Around 2015, a family moved in next door. They were friendly, and after a while, my oldest daughter and their kids began playing together. My kids spent the night a few times, and they were buddies, and we, the adults, were friendly acquaintances for a few years. Their oldest daughter even babysat for me a couple times when my work hours and my kids' school hours conflicted. I've given them a lot of clothes over the years because kid clothing seems to grow on trees in my house. I don't remember what year it started, but they started playing very loud music. They played it in the day, they played it in the evening, they played it in the night. They sometimes played it until the wee hours of the morning. I put up with it for a while because who wants to be that neighbor, right? But it got to the point quickly where I couldn't deal with it, so I began sending texts requesting that they turn it down. I don't remember the details of how each incident went down, but I'm sure the text I never delete would tell the story if I scroll back for details if needed. I noticed James, the father, was getting drunk most days. He would approach me in the yard to tell me something random, and alcohol was all over his breath. He saw my autistic daughter having a fit in Walmart, so he approached me to tell me that if I wanted to, I could just drop her off at their house and go shopping anytime I needed to. He had alcohol over his breath then too, and his speech was slurred. A group of guy friends was at his house almost every night, and I got to be front row to the party through my windows while trying to sleep. There was a couple of domestic incidences between the father and mother outside late at night, and one of them on my front lawn. The last one involved the two of them and another mother who was staying in their house for a time with 3 kids, 11 people in one 3-bedroom house. One morning, it came to a head since it was around 1 a.m. and a Monday morning. I texted the wife, Steph, in a very non-confrontational way. I said, I may be the only one working this morning, but I need to get some sleep before I have to get up, or something along those lines. She responded saying that she asked him to turn down the music or at least close the garage door. At some point, the music stopped, but they moved the party out to the front lawn and continued their laughing and carrying on. I got 1 hour's sleep before work. If I remember correctly, after that incident, it happened once more. I remembered that they were using my internet for free. I told them previously, I live in everybody knows I live in an apartment. This is shit you got to deal with. The noise, the partying, the internet for free is a new one. I mean, I've had people come to my door and knock on it and demand my goddamn and demand my Wi-Fi password. Not just kids and adults. Yo, is this you? Give me your password. No. I told them previously if they needed to use the Wi-Fi for something I didn't mind. Angrily, in an attempt to get back at them, I unplugged the router and oddly the music stopped for a few days. Yeah, because they were streaming it. I'm not a techie, so they're also using your internet to keep you like, wow. I'm not a techie person, so I don't know if that loud music can be sourced through the internet, if they were using my internet to get it. Obviously, they were streaming it. I have no idea. Maybe the shock of my turning off their internet source was the reason, and it quieted them for a few days. I stopped talking to them altogether. They didn't respect me or my long-term investment. Clearly not. They didn't respect my kids' need for sleep. They didn't respect their own kids' needs for sleep. They're at least in their 30s, and they were having guests over all hours of the night and all nights of the week. But that part is none of my business. I only wanted my peace and quiet. I have worked too hard on this house and invested too much time and money to live in misery. And both the music with the heavy bass I loathe and the disturbance itself were making me miserable. I love to read. Like most people, I like to sleep when it's time to sleep. I shouldn't have to compete with noise to concentrate or enjoy these things. My quiet does not seep into their doors and windows, and yet their loud noise does seep into mine. Eventually, my maintenance man talked to James about his noise, and James actually knocked on my door about a month ago and apologized and said he would try to keep it down. But they both work delivery type jobs when he is actually working. And all the month of December, I'm sure had them hopping, so they're, wait a minute. But they both work delivery type jobs when he's actually working, and all the month of December, I'm sure had them hopping, so there was probably, I assume, not much time for music and partying. Like clockwork, and post-Christmas relaxation, yesterday the loud music and bass started again. It vibrated in my walls from around 2 p.m. through around 8 p.m., and I battled myself over calling the sheriff's department. I knew that it escalated to that point, then it would cause all kinds of animosity and possible retaliation, but that's even if the county responded. We're not in the city limits, so there was no specific ordinance, I don't believe. It's the last thing I've wanted to consider. I ran on Nextdoor sometimes just to get my frustrations out. A lady messaged me and suggested I talk to the actual homeowner if these people are just renting. I decided to go with that since I did correspond with this lady a few years back about the property line. I sent her an email with a respectable description of what was happening and how I could no longer enjoy my home because of the intermittent noise. I received several replies. I was called a bitch. I was called a stalker. I was told to keep my problems to myself. And I was told that she talked to the mother, Steph, and they said they had a child in band and the child plays piano. They're liars. This is what happens when you call them. When you call the narcissist on their partying, they freak out. And I had this happen when I was living across the street. And it was right around New Year's Eve. These guys who were living in an apartment, actually they had problems with that apartment later on. But they were living in an apartment like adjacent to ours. And the guy pulls up his pickup truck and just starts blasting his music right outside right outside our door, literally 3 feet from our door. He's blaring music out of the big speakers, out of a pickup truck, out of a kicker box, and the thing is pounding. And I go out there and I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, what? Good time, party, good time. I'm like, no, it's not good time party. It's not a good time party. You got neighbors, buddy. You got neighbors. And he didn't want to hear it. It went back and forth. Charlene came out because they started yelling at me in Spanish, not realizing she speaks Spanish. And it went back and forth with her and them in Spanish, on and on and on. And what she ended up doing, because they were acting like this in front of their children, is she started shaming them to their children in Spanish, saying, when you get bigger, don't act like this, because your neighbors, your friends will all hate your guts. They move out a couple months later, right? So that summer, it's like June, July, that summer, I go down to 7-Eleven at the corner to get a pack, because I was still smoking cigarettes at the time, to get a pack of cigarettes. And I go in and I come out, I got cigarettes, I think I got a couple sodas and a coffee, Monster coffee for Charlene. I come out, who's in the parking lot, drunk off his ass, standing outside his pickup truck with his friend, the old neighbor, drunk off his ass, starts yelling at me, hey, good time, you got a fucking problem. He comes, he draws back on me, I level him with one shot down. His friend's like, no, my friend. I'm like, put him in the truck and get him out of here. You're going to get the same thing. And I went home with my knuckles swollen. And I'm like, show Charlene. I'm like, remember the neighbor? I just knocked his ass out in the 7-Eleven parking lot. Oh, this is what happens when you challenge them on their partying. And the landlord doesn't want to deal with it. All the landlord cares about if they're getting their money. So what you're going to have to do, Amy, is record this when it happens. Is record it and call the police and hope the police do something about it. Good luck, but you're going to have to keep an actual video record of this. Otherwise, it's never going to go anywhere. So she believed the piano story, which I don't actually think they own a piano, and told me to go ahead and call the police, but I'm wrong. Steph texted me within the hour and asked if I could go to her first before calling her landlady, and I've asked her to turn down the music before, and as if they didn't know it was a problem. Why would I go to you now when you're a liar? Because you're just going to lie? Like, why go to you? I'm just going to go to the police at this point. She also thanked me for the clothes I gave them, placed a bag on her porch two days ago. Yeah, I should have put them on the curb for random pickup instead. Silly me. I did not respond. I was kind of traumatized after the unexpected, immature, gaslighted response from the owner of the house. My side of the house still, of course, exposed, and the boundary against their yard I can't even reach. I feel like they're in retaliation mode now. I don't know what's going to happen. I looked at the property prices last night, and of course housing prices have gone up at least 20K since I bought my house, and the most affordable part and the most affordable are falling apart. I don't even know if I could sell my house considering it's in constant remodeling and repair mode. It was built in the 80s. I don't know if I could get approved for a second mortgage. I don't even know how to do the whole sell a house and buy a house thing. I don't want to move. You got to hire a realtor. Hire a realtor. Go talk to a realtor. Property is selling now. I mean, if property values have gone up, now's the time. Now it's kind of a seller's market. You could sell now. How did you get a mortgage in the first place? I don't want to move, but apparently these people aren't going anywhere, and I'm totally at their mercy. Um, I'm a kind, I'm a log kind of person. I'm a log kind of person. So I'm going to go back in text and create a log of incidents, and this has protected me before with an issue with the school district and my special needs daughter. I feel like I should go to the sheriff's department and make an incident report since the landlady is so atrociously dysfunctional in what should have been a very professional exchange. I feel like I don't know what's going to happen next, and I haven't had these feelings of anxiety since I finally escaped the narc vortex of my ex. If this were you, Ollie, what would you do? Well, I wouldn't, I wouldn't see. I don't do this shit through text. I went outside and I said, turn your shit down. Turn your fucking shit down. And what you need to do is you need to go outside with your cell phone in hand, recording, saying, it is 2:30 in the whatever time it is in the morning. Turn it down. You're being recorded. Okay? Turn it down. Because my next call is to the police with the next video. That's what you got to do. You got to let them know that you're documenting their bullshit. Would you stay knowing the placement of houses makes me financially vulnerable and hope for the best? Would you try to sell to try to buy again elsewhere knowing that your finances may not accommodate that and this will get worse? Or am I really dealing with a narc, an enabler, and a flying monkey and only just want and only just what sounds like immature manipulators who don't care about their neighbors? If I call the county on them the next time, it will probably be retaliation hell after that. I'm not sure what to do. I'm not sure if there's anything I can do. All I want is to live in peace and raise my girls in a stable home in a decent neighborhood. I've already made the donation. After tax season, I'll be able to do more. Thank you for any advice, Amy. Well, Amy, you got to find out what your options are first. I mean, if you don't know what your options are, then you don't know what your best option is. Talk to a realtor. See what the housing values are. Look and see what other what housing prices are. See if you can get pre-approved for another mortgage. Okay, why stay there if you don't need to? It doesn't sound like you have a lot of property in the first place. It's row housing. So even though you're living in a house, technically you're still living. I mean, you're still living apartment lifestyle. And when you live in an apartment lifestyle, you're at the mercy of narcs. Unless you're gonna document what's going on. But again, in this day and age, don't expect the police to do much. I mean, here we had a guy, remember, around Labor Day, trying to put fire extinguishers through the windows here, and the police didn't want to be called 4 times before they finally arrested the dude, because they don't want to get involved with this shit. What you're going to have to do is you're going to have to find out what your homeowner's rights are, what the renter's rights are, what you could do against the landlord, because landlords do have certain responsibilities with tenants. Okay, what your nuisance laws are in your town. This is all research you're going to have to do. But you shouldn't be interacting at all. You're talking about logging things. But have you recorded any of these music incidents? Listen, a recording speaks volumes. And there's no getting around blasting your music at 2, 3 in the morning, okay, in a neighborhood. Okay, there's no getting around that. You're an asshole. Okay? You're an asshole. If you keep doing it, and if you have video after video of these guys doing it, eventually something's going to have to be done. But you need to find out what your options are. Talk to a realtor, find out what your house is worth, find out what you can get on it. If you can make a profit, then you shouldn't have any problem buying another house. You really shouldn't. If you're paying your mortgage now and you're in your house and your house is not under mortgage, underwater, you shouldn't have a problem getting another mortgage. Okay, and why do you want to still live an apartment lifestyle in a house? Because that's what you're doing. You're still living an apartment lifestyle, even though you're in a house. And I'd even push the landlord. Okay, I'd see what I could do about the easement, about the property line and all that. I'd do all that. Stop giving them clothes. Stop giving them things. Because anytime you give them stuff like that, people like this, they see you as a sucker. They see you as an easy mark. That's how they got your... How did they get your Wi-Fi password in the first place? So unless you stand up to them, they're just going to see you as a mark. Period. And you stand up to them by letting them know, I'm recording everything you're doing. Maybe put a ring camera in that records all of that. All of it. And let them know. Like, you're being monitored at this point. All of it's being monitored. So go ahead. But if they needed your internet to play their music, I wouldn't expect the music to last too much longer, because they don't sound like the most responsible people in the first place. So I hope that helps. Thank you so much for your contribution and your story, Amy. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, a narcissist you'd like to expose, you'd like to have a private video made, or you'd just like to make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it supported, growing, and successful, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you. Without you guys, all of this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been the Narcissistic Resistance. Take care.